Today's lecture will be over Chapter 16, Section 2, Objectives. Number 1, identify some effects of the use of Transcaucasia as a migration route. Number 2, summarize some of the historic influences on Transcaucasia. Number 3, describe the economy of Transcaucasia. And number 4, identify characteristics of the people of the region. So the first thing that we look at today is that we're going to look at Eastern Europe right here. As you can see, and we'll kind of adjust the map right here, this is going to be Western Europe. We talked about the Mediterranean Sea and the importance there. We're going to go ahead and we're going to look at this area right here. When we look at Eastern Europe, this area over here is going to be Far Eastern Europe. As you can see, it has a huge connection because what we have is we have the Black Sea that it can go ahead and it can be used as a trading network right here. What you can also do with this area is that you're going to be able to go through Turkey and you're going to get to the Mediterranean Sea. You can also have a connection between areas of kind of Southwest Asia right here, and then Asia in this area right here. And so what we have is that we've got Georgia, Armenia, and Azerbaijan right on this Transcaucasia. Again, it's a connection between Europe, it's a connection between Asia, and it in some ways can be a connection with Africa as well. So what we see is that, again, Transcaucasia is going to include Armenia, Azerbaijan, and Georgia. Area is a historical route between Europe and Asia. Trade routes near the Black Sea lead to the Mediterranean. You also have trade routes from the Caspian Sea are going to lead to the Far East. Due to routes today, more than 50 different peoples live in this region. And so again, because we have a lot of migration, through migration, we're going to be able to see language, culture, all are going to be kind of diffused. Variety of language families include Indo-European, Caucasian, Altic. Arab geographers call it the Bahal al-Sun, which is the mountain of languages. Now, what we have is migration brings religion, and again, we've talked about this in different areas, but more migration, you're going to have more religion. Most people are Christian and Muslim due to the proximity of Southwest Asia. So again, you see this area right here, and you're going to see, okay, the Arabian Peninsula right here, very, very Muslim. That means that the Islamic religion is going to be very important, but also in this area as well, you're going to see a connection to the Eastern European, and that's going to be kind of a big area for your Christianity as well. So two areas very, very connected. Armenia and Georgia are some of the oldest Christian states in the world. Armenians, King Tyrad III is going to make a Christian state in about 300 AD. Muslims invade the southern Caucasus in about 600s, and today Azerbaijan is mostly Muslim. So again, smaller area, you're going to go ahead and you're going to see two different religions right here. Now, of course, this causes conflict, ethnic tensions in Czech under the rigid Soviet rule, but after 1991 they're going to kind of erupt. You're going to see the Georgian Civil War. Armenian and Azerbaijan are going to have a territorial war. So what we see in this area is a lot of people are going to be fighting. Now we also see is that in the Soviet era, you're going to have the Russian Empire expands in the region in 1700s. 1763, Peter the Great takes his armies to the Baku, Azerbaijan's capital, and then in 1801, Russia annexes Georgia. Annexes means that they're going to go ahead and they're going to take over politically, and that usually doesn't have anything to do with a war or fighting or anything. They just say, hey, you're going to become part of our country, and they go ahead and they say that's okay. 1828, Russia controls Armenian territory in the plains of Yerevan, and then the Transcaucasia is going to be part of the Russian Empire by the late 1800s. Now, the region is going to be briefly independent after the 1917 revolution. If you can recall what's happening at this time is the czars have been taken over, the Soviet Union has become communist, and so what we have is that this area it's kind of independent, but it's the idea that it's going to become part of the Soviet Union. By the early 1800s, the Red Army comes in and takes this area. Region's going to suffer major, painful economic and political changes under the Soviet Union. Lots of people die because of the famines that are triggered by the farm collectivization. Again, they're taking the farms and basically making it the governments. A lot of people are going to starve during that time. They're also going to die because of their political beliefs. They do not like communism, and they're going to be put to death. Independent after 1991, when the fall and the collapse of the Soviet Union occurs, but the republics struggled to rebuild their economies. Also, agriculture and industry in this area, because of the mountains, most people would think that this area is not going to do good agriculture, but they do have a good chunk of agriculture in this area. Humid subtropical lowlands, you're going to see tea, fruits, grapes, also including Georgian wines that are going to be major exports. Soviet factories still produce iron, chemicals, and consumer goods, but Azerbaijan is going to be oil rich. And what we see is that pipelines go across Armenia and Georgia, and they're actually going to get a piece of the pie in regards to getting money for this oil. And so this area does have quite a bit of money with the oil. Also, Azerbaijan means the land of flames. It's named that way because a fire basically comes up and erupts from the Caspian Sea. The reason is that there's underground oil and gas deposits, which basically makes it look like the fire is on top of the water. Now, dividing the Caspian Sea, what we see is that after the Soviet Union breaks up, 5 countries are going to claim this oil-rich Caspian. So as you can see right here, the Caspian Sea, there's a lot of different areas right here, a lot of different countries that say that they want to go ahead and they want to be part of this. Caspian Sea has a lot of oil, and so the question is that how should it be divided? If it is considered to be a sea, each country is going to own the resources on the section of their seabed. So what that means is that if there's a bunch of oil near Baku and Azerbaijan, they get all that money. But if it is considered to be a lake, all the countries are going to share the oil wealth equally. So obviously, if you've got more of the land, you're going to want this to go ahead and you're going to want it to be a sea. If you've got a small chunk, you're going to want it to become a lake. Azerbaijan does have large offshore oil reserves, so it says it wants to be a sea, but of course Russia has few of them and they want it to be a lake. So dividing the Caspian Sea really is about how to divide the oil resources that the sea has. Now, in educated people, Soviet educational programs are going to raise the region's literacy to 99%. Population is mostly illiterate before 1917. So again, the Soviet Union and Russia have done a good job of improving education. Workers were educated in order to perform modern industrial tasks. And what we also see in kind of the modern lifestyle of Transcaucasia is a supra, Georgian dinner. And what this is includes cold dishes, hot courses, fruits, desserts, dinner with many toast, speeches, all before kind of drinking. And so what happens is that this Georgian dinner really makes it so that all the people are coming together and it's kind of a family affair. This concludes chapter 16, section 2. Please complete your assessments at this time.